This programme is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Hello and welcome to the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. We're at the Red Bull Ring in Austria for the second round of the championship for GTs and touring cars. Today we'll look at both 1 hour races with the highs and lows that once again show what a tough battle everyone has on their hands in the title race for the 3 divisions: GT, Supersport and Sport. Austria's Grand Prix track was built on the former airfield at Zeltweg in the Styrian Mountains and opened in 1969. One of the fastest tracks on the F1 calendar, it was remodelled to the current 4.3 kilometre configuration in 1995. And after another major renovation, it was reopened as the Red Bull Ring in 2011. Major elevation changes and long straights have remained, and that means top speeds are very high. Brakes are tested to the maximum and occasionally beyond. For many in the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook, it's a first time at the Red Bull Ring, but not for Bas Schouten driving JR Motorsport's BMW M4 Silhouette, and he was widely expected to be the fastest in the GT class, although the Porsches are a force to be reckoned with. The BMW Silhouettes dominated on Zandvoort's short tight layout, but the long straights of the Red Bull Ring are perfect for the powerful Porsches. We'll never know how that would have worked out, because after 2 laps, the BMW was back in the pits with gearbox issues, qualifying over for Bas Schouten and last year's GT champion Vard Slice, and they'll start from the back of the grid in both races. The track's got a lot of long straights, and the Porsches really benefit from that with their much higher top speed. Don't know what we might have done in qualifying, but in the race I'm pretty sure we can work our way to the front, so we'll have to see. The top 3 in qualifying does feature 3 Porsches GT3 Cup 991s, with GT Championship leader Roger Grals third in the Team Race Art machine. He'll start behind 2 Porsches from Kogelbar Motorsport, a local team boasting more than 20 years' experience. Greek driver Costa Kanaroglu leads the Supersport 1 points with the E2P Racing Ginetta G50 GT4. At Zandvoort, he managed to win the first race of the season, but he's less optimistic about his chances at the Red Bull Ring. The Ginetta lacks the top speed to keep up with his Supersport rivals like the Seat Leon Cup cars. Dennis Heuveling topped the qualifying times with his Håkon Seat Leon until finally 17-year-old Danny Kroos spoiled his fun, grabbing pole for both races. It's my first time at this track, says Danny, and the first time I had to do qualifying in damp conditions as well. So it's all a bit new, but it was easy enough to find the limit of the car. When I was confident, I was able to set the fastest lap. Well, it's always possible for somebody to go quick in the final minutes of qualifying. I was on a quick lap, might have improved my lap time, but I got held up in traffic. Shame really, because that could have been good for pole, but starting on the front row in our class is good as well. It's sunny and pleasant for the first race after a damp qualifying, 27 degrees of track temperature. Vard Slice starting at the back of the field in the BMW M4 Silhouette. Harold Pavlas on pole in his yellow GT3 Cup ahead of Wolfgang Triller. Roger Grals lining up in 3rd spot with Bob Herber alongside him, and they are the first of the full season regulars. Ready for the rolling start with Dennis Heuveling. Peter van Solen right in front, and on the right, Danny Kroos, the pole sitter in the Sport 1 class. Away we go, rushing along the straight and then uphill into the tight right-handed turn 1. Great start from the outside of the front row from Wolfgang Triller. The white Porsche leads Harold Pavlas, the pole sitter. Right behind 201 there, that's Dennis de Boerst, goes out very wide. Oh, and that's the pole man facing the wrong way in the middle of the road. How did they all avoid him? That's insane. With Dennis de Boerst then trying to make up for lost ground. Rushing up towards the braking area for the tight right uphill hairpin. Inside line so crucial here, as is getting stopped. Look out from behind, Vard Slice. Wow, it's like the corner wasn't even there. He came in straight up the inside and clattered into the back of Dennis de Boerst. De Borst in the pit lane, right rear damage. Well, given the impact, it's amazing there's so little damage on the car. He's obviously come in to get it checked out, and the team are changing the right rear tyre. Oh, you see why the bodywork is gouged right down to the canvas. That is going to cost them a lap or possibly two, but they are, it seems, still in the race.
Ik moest de binnenkant kiezen, beetje over de curbbaan.
Decided to take my normal inside line onto the curb. All good. Up to the moment when somebody smashed into my car. I have no idea who. The car was damaged. Had to come in and change the wheel. I fought my way forward again. So now we'll have to see what happens. Well, we know who it was. It was Vard Slice. Let's see what happens. Coming from the back of the grid, up through the field. And listen, he's going down the gears. The car's just not slowing. And he can't avoid everybody there at that packed right-hand hairpin.
Ik had bij de opwarmronde had ik al het gevoel dat er een probleem was met de rem.
On the warm-up lap, I'd already noticed that I had a problem with the brake, says Vard. One of the guys told me over the radio everything was fine. It was probably the new brake pads, so I just needed to take everything easy. At the start, everything went fine. Managed to avoid the collision in turn one, and then going uphill, managed to pass a few cars. But I was going by a slower guy, hit the brakes, and nothing happened. I was just a passenger. Unfortunately, I hit somebody in front of me. That was never my intention, but I just could not get the car to stop. And that first corner incident, well, take a look at the white car. Robert Vandenberg going by the Seat of Dennis de Borst, who moves left, and that puts him into Ronald van Loon's blue BMW. On board with Roger Graals. Down the inside into turn one, takes second place, but contact with the pole man who goes around. And then around the outside goes Bob Herber. And here's the view from our poleman, Harold Pavlas, who's been beaten into the first turn and then growls on the inside. And look at that. Everybody comes pouring out of the blind corner one. How do they all miss him? Here's your race leader then, Wolfgang Triller. Bob Herber in second with the white bonnet. Roger Graals right behind him in third. There's Dan Meyer. Used to be a Porsche racer, now in the BMW. Bunch more Porsches. There's our Supersport 1 leader. He runs out wide. Dennis Kroos loses the lead to the yellow and black car of Dennis Heuveling. And here comes Erik van der Munkhoff in his Z4 GT3. Kroos goes down to third. Heading up to the right-hand hairpin, Danny Kroos closing on the Z4 of Erik van der Munkhoff, having a little lunge up the inside. Yes, he is. Seat stops on its nose, and that's a block pass. Van der Munkhoff can't get by immediately. But look, he's got better traction off the corner. Danny Kroos still right there. And Kroos hangs on for second in front of Van der Munkhoff. Supersport 1 points leader Costa Canaroglu in the Ginetta there. Sixth place in class, struggling for pace. Battle for sixth in GT, we're with Peter van Solen in the BMW M4. Jos Janssen right in front, leading this tightly packed group in his Porsche. You can see the leaders just stretching away down the straight, out of the final corner of this long straight, and look, you can see the hill in front. Now that helps with braking, but it helps both drivers equally, and the BMW can't get close enough to the Porsche, or can he? Up the inside he goes, and he makes the pass stick. Great work by Peter van Solen. With Roger Graals chasing Bob Herber. This is for second place in the GT class. Looking to go the long way round the outside, or rather Bob Herber forcing him to go the long way round the outside at the hairpin. And Graals with great traction there as well. Bob Herber first time out in that Porsche. His own BMW still not ready, but Roger Graals with more Porsche experience moves up into second place. This is Edward Graals ahead of the BMW Peter van Solen, 104 Marcel van Berlo and Jos Janssen. So 3 Porsches and the BMW Peter van Solen in the mix. This is the battle for 5th in GT. 6th place at the moment for Peter van Solen. And drifting out wide, Edward Graals. And that leaves the door wide open for the BMW straight up the inside. Edward Graals not finished yet, paying for that mistake either. Marcel van Berlo pounces at the end of the straight and he goes up to 6th. Take a look back, lap 1 with Peter Scheuers. This is turn 2, running wide to avoid contact, outbraking himself into the gravel trap, losing a lot of places. Now after the safety car where Dennis de Borst's car was crashed into by Vard Slice on lap 2, De Boerst had a chance to catch up. Many laps of hard work later, Dennis De Boerst has just got by Peter Schoyers, and that's only for 10th place in Supersport 1 for two cars that were delayed early on. Doesn't seem to be much to choose between the two of them in terms of outright pace. The front-wheel drive turbocharged Seat may be working a little better at the alpine altitudes here in the Styrian Alps. And the BMW with its normally aspirated engine, long on torque, so it'll be good with rear-wheel drive off the corners. And you can see from Dennis De Boerst's viewpoint, the BMW comes alongside, but De Boerst with the inside line. BMW can't quite get the door closed. Going to run out of traction on the exit. The Seat is still harassing him. Great battle between the two of them. Back and forwards they go for 10th place in the class. A great battle between two determined rivals with a lot of ground to make up. Supersport 1 class pole sitter Danny Kroos lost the lead on the opening lap, but when he comes into the pits for the mandatory stop, he is still in second spot in the class as he hands over to Priscilla Spellman, his teammate. 1 minute stationary, that's a mandatory pit stop minimum time, and it allows for a nice, safe driver change. No need for fuel in this 1 hour race. Well, Danny had brake problems, it seems. He said, I had to pump the brakes, push the pedal all the way to the floor to get some pressure, pump it on the straight, so it was almost impossible to drive. We're just going to have to hope that it holds out to the end. If it had got any worse, I'd have had to have stopped. It was really close to being dangerous. Race leader Dennis Heuveling also in for his pit stop. He won in Zandvoort with his one-off teammate Robin Monster, so he has to add 15 seconds to his pit stop, which means those that didn't do well at Zandvoort, not on the podium, will end up in front of him. Priscilla Spellman, though, was unable to hang on to the lead because of those brake problems. Dennis Heuveling going by her, and also past Benjamin Vandenberg, who got out of the pits earlier on in the BMW 1 Series GTR with its 3.2 litre straight six. The Seat Leon Cup racer with a 2 litre turbo engine, perhaps faring just a fraction better in the alpine conditions here in Austria. Erik van der Munkhoff closing in behind as well in a BMW Z4 GTR. So this is the lead battle in the Supersport 1 class, and Vandenberg can't hold the line he needs to keep Heuveling behind. And Erik van der Munkhoff is looming dangerously close. You can actually see van der Munkhoff's BMW in the door mirrors. There he is. He's closing in fast. He's seen the mistake by Vandenberg, and he capitalises onto the straight. He goes flying by. As so often happens, a mistake 2 corners out will cost you all the way up to this first turn. So it's now Dennis Heuveling, Erik van der Munkhoff and Benjamin Vandenberg. Bob Herber in the pits from 3rd place in GT. 2 6th place finishes in Zandvoort with the BMW, so no added result seconds for him. Roger Graals, on the other hand, comes in from 2nd place, but Wolfgang Triller, the leader, retires with a puncture, so Graals will move up to the lead. But after 3rd in Zandvoort in race 1 and winning race 2, 20 extra result seconds drops him back behind Bob Herber. Not long into the second stint though, Bob Herber caught by Roger Graals for the lead of the race, and Graals is not alone either. The car that started on pole, driven by Harold Pavlas, now has Dieter Sveps at the wheel, and the yellow and white car is right there. Roger Graals with the inside line trying to get around Bob Herber as they catch a slower car. But the local expert Dieter Sveps not only gets past Roger Graals for second, he's now attacking Bob Herber for the lead. So grabs the lead in the GT class in the closing stages, ahead of Bob Herber and Roger Graals. Dieter Sveps then with the lead of the race, Bob Herber in second, Roger Graals in 3rd place. Herber saying after the race that he enjoyed the Porsche so much he might continue to race it for the rest of the season, which will give him a lot more experience than he currently has of that car. Roger Graals using his greater Porsche experience. Up the inside into the right-hand hairpin. Bob Herber has to let him go. Once the car's got alongside there is no way of defending. Behind them, Peter van Solen sneaks in front of Edward Graals for 4th, and that will be 3rd among our championship regulars. At the checkered flag then, victory for the pole sitters, Harold Pavlas and Dieter Sveps.
Harold did a great job because he was overtaking a lot of cars then in his stint. And then for me it was easy to finish the race on the first place because also the second car from our team had a puncture in the left rear, and so then I've seen it's working to pass all others and to finish on the podium.
In the closing stages, the battle for Supersport 1 honours fell to Dennis Heuveling, being chased by Erik van der Munkhoff. And after spending most of the second part of the race harassing the Seat Leon, finally on the last lap of the race, Erik van der Munkhoff was right on his tail and managed to find a way by the Seat, just too deep under braking into the hairpin, and van der Munkhoff able to capitalise on the last lap of the race. Dennis Heuveling pipped for pole in the final minutes of qualifying and pipped for the win on the final lap of the race. Marcel van der Maat and Peter Scheuers finished third. Erik van der Munkhoff is our happy winner, but as he tells us, it wasn't as easy as it might have looked.
Ik had uiteindelijk in de laatste ronde...
Near the end of the race, the engine stopped revving properly. It was quite nerve-wracking. I didn't want to drop out of the race again. Luckily, though, this time the engine didn't let me down. I finished in first place, so I'm really happy. And next time, Henry Zumbrick's back, so we'll be a proper team again. A great battle for honours in Supersport 2. Michael Smith and the Blue Seat just failing to hold off Ollie Taylor's BMW. Taylor claiming the honours. Sport Class Championship leaders Bart van den Broek and Chris Vogt started from pole position with their turbo Peugeot RCZ, and that caused a few problems for Sandra van der Slot and John van der Voort because they just couldn't keep up in their normally aspirated 147 GTA Alfa Romeo.
Ja, we missen het zeker.
We definitely need some extra horsepower. We can't keep up with them. It's a shame, really, because you want to be able to compete on the same kind of level, but when their turbo kicks in, they've got a higher top speed than us. In the corners, we're just as fast, though, so it's going to be a tough race, and that's why we're here. Well, the battle between the turbo and normally aspirated engines is raging across most of the classes. It seems to be an eternal struggle, and John van der Voort likes to bring a personal message. I've come to help you guys out. You've been putting so much strain on your turbos, it might break them. So I found you a local dealer. He's here in town. This is his sales flyer. Are turbo engines really the best choice? Not so much, says Bart van den Broek. We're nowhere near our regular top speed here. Don't know why. Maybe it's something to do with the altitude. We noticed it affects our turbo a lot. Shouldn't make so much difference than normally aspirated engines, but we're not as fast as people think we are. We're not getting the full power out of the engine. Maybe the air or something will improve later. Who knows? Whatever the pros and cons, the Alfa and the Peugeot battle non-stop from lap 1 through to the pit stops, with rarely more than even a car length between them.
Ja, maar dan ook echt alles.
I squeezed everything out of the car and out of myself, says Sandra. I got next to him a few times, then the turbo kicks in and they have a car length advantage by the time you get on the brakes. I must admit the Alfa was much quicker than I was, says Bart. Being fast is one thing, but getting by is another. It was good fun. Sandra and I were having a blast, and that's what counts. It's fun. The Peugeot takes the lead after the pit stops. Chris Vogt and John van der Voort taking over from their teammates. The Alfa finishing second, with Silhouette drivers Henk Tappel and Harold Wesselink in third. Well, stay with us as we have more from Zeltweg after the break. Race 2 from the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero Race and Rally Base Layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Welcome back to Zeltweg in Austria's Styrian Mountains. We're at the Red Bull Ring for the second race weekend of the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. The Race 1 winner is on pole for Race 2. Dieter Sveps shares this yellow Porsche with Harold Pavlas. And alongside is teammate Wolfgang Triller, who led Race 1 from the start, only to retire with a puncture. Roger Graals lines up in third place, leading the GT Championship and getting more points than his rivals in the first of the encounters. Edward Graals alongside him, and Bob Herber, second in GT Championship, starts in fifth position, also in a Porsche. Dan Meyer in the BMW M4 Silhouette alongside has changed from being a Porsche driver just as everyone else goes the other way. Ready for the rolling start with Dennis Heuveling. The white car is Priscilla Spellman, the pole sitter in Supersport 1. On the left, Erik van der Munkhoff. The field rushing up to the tight uphill first corner. And again from the outside of the front row, Wolfgang Triller trying to take the lead. Dieter Sveps this time gets through cleanly. Roger Graals in third, on board with Erik van der Munkhoff. There is Priscilla Spellman right in front. And there is Dennis Heuveling. Alongside van der Munkhoff is the orange BMW Peter Scheuers. Leaders up to the hairpin, everybody safely through this time. No dramas so far as there were in the first race. Van der Munkhoff now closing on the Seats. There's Dennis Heuveling alongside him, and he's got Priscilla Spellman in front. No longer. She made a mistake coming out of the hairpin and is being swamped. She'll go from first to fourth possibly. Van der Munkhoff gets by Priscilla Spellman's view there. Here's our race leader, Dieter Sveps from Wolfgang Triller. Dennis Heuveling leading in Supersport 1 in the yellow and grey Seat. There he is, right behind Van der Munkhoff. You can see the orange BMW Peter Scheuers duking it out for third place. This is Dennis de Borst. 201 started 7th in Supersport. Right in front is Ronald van Loon's ex-World Touring Car Championship BMW M3. And straight by from the back of the grid goes Bas Schouten in the BMW M4 Silhouette. And that was the car that crashed heavily on the opening lap when Vaardsluis lost the brakes. Ronald van Loon right in front of us. Dennis de Borst getting a good run out of the final corner. And there's the view from Van Loon. De Borst goes by. Benjamin van der Berg, the next car up the road, as they all turn into the right-hander at the top of the hill. Leaders side by side to the hairpin. The white car, Wolfgang Triller, takes the lead. Roger Graals in third ahead of Bob Herber and Edward Graals. Next group has Art Bosma's Porsche ahead of Dan Meyer's BMW. And there's Dennis Heuveling, the yellow Seat Leon ahead of Erik van der Munkhoff and Priscilla Spellman. Well, past them went Bas Schouten. Now, did that hold up the Leon? Yes, it looks like it did. The BMW coming alongside. Van der Munkhoff gets through on the inside. Look at the remote gear lever changing all the way down the gearbox as they get to the end of the back straight. And there is Peter Scheuers. Priscilla Spellman further back. And there's Costa Canaroglu struggling in the Ginetta, just off the pace all weekend here. Cannot find the speed of his class rivals. With Dennis Heuveling, Erik van der Munkhoff moves into the lead of Supersport 1. It is all change. And Dennis Heuveling goes back inside him on the long, sweeping left-hander. Erik van der Munkhoff needs to keep piling on the pressure. Costa Canaroglu doing exactly that at the back of Benjamin van den Berg. This is the battle for 8th place in Supersport 1. Canaroglu in the Ginetta. And the Ginetta is being outgunned by its rivals in terms of pace, but he's got a good handling car and he needs to try and force the pressure mistake out of Dennis van den Berg. Here's your leaders, Heuveling, van der Munkhoff, the orange car Scheuers, then Priscilla Spellman, Dennis de Borst, Dan Stringfellow and Ronald van Loon. On board with Costa Canaroglu behind Benjamin van den Berg out of the hairpin. Here comes the Ginetta chasing up behind the BMW once more in the slipstream, having to go the long way round the outside. Up to corner 3. That's not going to work. Oh, and he's on the loose. Can he get it turned in? Yes, manages to do so. Now, will that gain him an advantage? It looks like it has done. Persistence pays off for the Greek driver. He moves up to 8th. Dennis Heuveling starting to ease away from Erik van der Munkhoff in second because van der Munkhoff's under pressure from Scheuers. Then Priscilla Spellman and Dennis de Borst. 263 Dan Stringfellow in that dark blue BMW all on his own. They've shaken off Ronald van Loon with Costa Canaroglu. And now there is Ronald van Loon who's come back towards him. Van Loon's got a problem. And Costa Canaroglu not only catches him fast, but is going straight by. Looks like the BMW doesn't have a problem with acceleration, maybe with braking, or he's running out of tyres. Either way, Costa Canaroglu up 2 spots now from his grid place. Ted van Vliet in the pits and out of the race in the BMW. broken gearbox, and he's not a happy bunny. Peter van Soelen and Koen Bokaerts, fourth in race 1, winners in Zandvoort, in for an unscheduled stop.
Ja, de auto was niet helemaal in orde, dus dan een stekker los van de bobine.
Engine wasn't running as it should have been. Turned out it was a loose coil lead. I noticed it during the warm-up lap, said Peter. Thought it was my imagination, but I knew there was a problem when people were going by me left, right and centre. So I came in for a quick check-up. They reconnected the coil lead and the problem's gone, but a good result's really a bit out of the question now. Wolfgang Triller leading teammate Dieter Sveps in the yellow and white car. Roger Graals in third, Bob Herber there in fourth, but they're dropping Edward Graals in fifth. And then Dan Meyer ahead of Marcel van Berlo, Jos Janssen and our Bosman, with Bas Schouten now right in behind and in between them. And he comes through. And that will make him in 9th place in the GT class. Leaders pulling away comfortably, Wolfgang Triller and Dieter Sveps, as Roger Graals and Bob Herber battle for top points among our season regulars. Bas Schouten now picking his way through the field. That's Marcel van Berlo, 104, and 7th place is his. 2 BMW M4 silhouettes now. Dan Meyer under pressure from that man. Bas Schouten right behind him in the 111 machine. The two cars outwardly very similar indeed. But Bas Schouten from the back of the grid with much more experience of the Red Bull Ring than Dan Meyer. And that is starting to tell. He's going to have to work hard though. The further up the field he gets, the tougher every overtake is going to be. And of course then the more rewarding it'll be if he gets by them. Dan Meyer holding a nice tight line, breaking a fraction earlier though. Schouten closing corner by corner and now onto the long pit straight. Is he going to have room to go through on the inside? He's coming with speed. He's having a little look up the inside, not quite enough. That would have been a big risk. But Dan Meyer knows that there is clear and present danger. In front, Graals, Herber and Graals. That's 3rd, 4th and 5th. And this is the battle for 6th place. Bas Schouten up to the right-hand hairpin. Dan Meyer needs to keep the line neat and tidy on the exit. Schouten can use all the road and as much as he wants when he wants. But Dan Meyer is slower because he has to be very defensive. Can't take the ideal racing line because it tends to leave the door open. Big stab of flame on the overrun. Bas Schouten again looking for a way by, trying to force a mistake from Dan Meyer, and Meyer earlier on the brakes. This time Schouten lunges in deep and late. Can he hold it? Yes, he does. And that is a great pass. Race leader Wolfgang Triller behind. Teammate Karin Sinhart goes by her, followed by Dieter Sveps. No dramas at the head of GT, but drama at the head of Supersport 1. Dennis Heuveling leading from Erik van der Munkhoff. But watch the blue BMW of Dan Stringfellow right behind Dennis de Borst. On the curbs on the inside in turn 1, loops the car round into a spin and stalls, and it takes so long to get it going that the safety car is scrambled. Once everything is under control, they are ready to restart, and that's when things go wrong. The Porsche of Jos Janssen slows dramatically at the start-finish line with a mechanical problem. And as everybody brakes, there's contact. Peter Scheuers hits the back of Erik van der Munkhoff. Van der Munkhoff can't believe he's just been hit. Scheuers is out of the race. Costa Canaroglu benefits at the green flag. He goes by several cars in the Ginetta. Peter Scheuers is off. Disaster for the orange BMW. We'll take a look again, getting ready to restart. And suddenly everybody's checking up in front. He can't avoid the car in front of him. Tries to keep going, but then watch what happens. Suddenly the car's all but uncontrollable, and he knows he's got no option but to pull over and retire. And again, take a look here. They're all bunched up. And Peter Scheuer is unfortunately the man who gets caught out. Into the pits. Not much attached to that left front corner. And that is game over.
Ja, doodzonde. Ging zo super. We hadden echt mooie gevechten.
Such a shame, having a great battle with the 4 cars all close together. Shouldn't have happened, but what can you do? Stay with us at the Red Bull Ring. Lots more action still to come in race 2 from the weekend. This programme is powered by Hankook tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero race and rally base layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine. Welcome back to the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. Race weekend number 2 at Austria's Red Bull Ring, and in the second race being led by Wolfgang Triller from the pole sitter Dieter Svep's Porsche's 1-2. Starting from the back of the grid, Bas Schouten, but he carved his way through the field and a safety car has helped close up the group ahead of him. So now we have Wolfgang Triller ahead of the yellow car of Dieter Svep's, and then the battle of the regulars. Roger Grau's Porsche ahead of Bob Herber's similar car, and right with them Bas Schouten in the BMW M4 Silhouette. Well, here is Roger Grau's. Bob Herber trying to go the long way round the outside. And Grau's hanging on the inside line. They've got Peter van Solen's BMW M4 Silhouette right behind them, but that's a lap down because of mechanical problems early on. And there are the Porsches. There's Peter van Solen, and there's the danger man, Bas Schouten. More experience on this Red Bull Ring circuit than anybody else in the paddock here. So once he's got by, hopefully, Peter van Solen, who should have been told by the team that the car behind is coming through and he's a lap down, then hopefully for Bas Schouten he'll get to grips with Roger Grau's and Bob Herber. But right now, Van Solen is a little bit of a thorn in his side and not making it easy. Wolfgang Triller still hanging on in front of Dieter Svep's in their Porsches. Then Bob Herber with the white bonnet and Roger Grau's behind him. Herber, big mistake, brakes too late into turn 1, drifts out very wide. Look at Roger Grau's looking for the inside line immediately into turn 2. And undoubtedly Bas Schouten is going to try and follow him through. Roger Grau's with an aero update on his Porsche that Bob Herber's car doesn't have. More aero grip, but a little bit less top-end speed, and that might hurt him if the BMW M4 Silhouette gets close, and it is getting close. Underneath Bob Herber, exiting the hairpin, and he goes through into 4th place in the race, second amongst our championship regulars. Don't forget the 2 Porsches out front, only part of the championship this weekend in Austria. Roger Grau's then needs to hang on in front of Bas Schouten. And there is the lap down Peter van Solen, still making mischief amongst the front runners. On board with Schouten. So this is effectively for the lead in terms of the championship points in GT, and Graus drifts a little wide. And through comes Bas Schouten. White Porsche, Roger Triller in the middle of the road, really defending hard against Dieter Svep's. And this battle raging behind isn't allowing these guys to catch. Bob Herber up the inside of Roger Grau's. That's for 4th place. Grau's was 3rd at the start of the lap, now down to 5th position after Bob Herber made a mistake last time round running out wide there. But in front of them, Bas Schouten is pulling away, leaving the 2 Porsches to battle. Grau's is going the long way round the outside of Bob Herber for 4th place. Can he do it? No, just going to lose out on the outside, and Peter van Solen squeezes by as well to add to his problems. Dieter Svep's with the yellow nose on the inside of Wolfgang Triller. Finally, is he going to get through for the lead? Can he hold it? Yes, he does. And alongside is Bas Schouten as well. Schouten's got an overlap. Look in the mirror though. There goes the Porsche alongside, and there he is, appearing back in front of us. He had better traction out of the corner. Stays in 2nd place for the moment at least. But Bas Schouten harassing the race leaders and a long way ahead of Bob Herber and Roger Grau's. Take a look again from on board with Dieter Svep's. 16 laps he's been stuck up behind Wolfgang Triller, and it's the same deal as it always is. A mistake 2 corners out leaves you drifting wide or having to defend deep into the final turn, and that's all the advantage our race 1 winner needed. Dieter Svep's has the lead. Roger Grau's Bob Herber still battling for 4th. The white BMW Dan Meyer, the black one, a lap down. We already know about him, don't we? Roger Graals, though, under pressure. Dan Meyer closing in that white M4 silhouette. So if he makes a mistake attacking Bob Herber, then he might lose more places than he potentially could gain. They're wheel to wheel out of the hairpin. And again, Herber with a slightly sweeping wider line has a fraction more advantage. And Graals is going to run out of legs at the end of this straight as his aero package starts to slow the car, but it does mean he can brake later, deeper into the apex, and through he goes for third place. Roger Graals, Bob Herber battling amongst themselves, but chasing the leaders still Bas Schouten. In front of us, Wolfgang Triller in second place, up to the hairpin, and he outbrakes himself, gets in too deep. Schouten up to second. Mandatory pit stops also mean a chance to fix things. Erik van der Munkhoff's team sorting out the damage caused by getting hit at the restart by Peter Scheuers to the exhaust, to the body. They lose 40 seconds because of that, and result seconds, winning on Saturday and race 2 in Zandvoort. And they're not alone. Priscilla Spellman brings her car in, but the team forget to start the stopwatch when she arrives. So that means they lose valuable time as well. They daren't leave too early. On board with 203, this is Danny Kroos, his Seat Leon Cup racer, and he is behind Robert Vandenberg. Costa Canaroglu with the lead at this stage in the Ginetta. Vandenberg drifts out a little wide. Danny Kroos, pole position for the 2 races, taking over from Priscilla Spellman now, working his way back up through the order after that unfortunate loss of time. And he makes it by Robert Vandenberg with no major dramas. Battle for third in Supersport 1. Luc van Loon in the white and blue BMW around the outside. Danny Kroos and the Seat Leon at turn 1. Has he got the grip on the outside? He does. And the turbo spools up quickly. He's in front of Luc van Loon. Job done. Up to third. Little thumbs up for a clean pass there by Luc. I think he appreciated that. Here's your race leader, Dieter Sveps, with Bas Schouten right behind in the BMW. And there is Vard Slice ready to take over the car. And he knows, as the team do, that they've got 0 result seconds from race 1. But the Porsche they've been chasing have 15, so they should take the lead in the pit stops. And that's why Bas Schouten didn't make a lunge for the lead. Didn't need to. Looks like it was hot work from the back of the grid up to second place. Great driving effort. Teammate Vard Slice heads back into the race. Had to come all the way from the back of the grid, says Bas, and I really gave it everything I've got. It was really hard trying to catch the Porsches. Eventually, I managed to get right on their tails, but on these long straights, they've got such enormous top speed, and so then they're out of reach until you get to the next corner, and that's where our car's much better, but it's really hard to overtake them. So we came in second place, now we're leading the race, hopefully we'll win it. Fortune smiles on them when this happens. Harold Pavlas has just taken over the Porsche from Dieter Sveps. Locks it up into turn 1 and backs it into the barriers. Listen on board, and you hear the car clearly locking up. Perhaps just a little eager to stay out of the way of Erik van der Munkhoff. He spins and stalls. And that takes the pressure off Vard Slice for the team who started on the back foot, failing to qualify, knowing they'd be on the back of the grid for both races. Race 1 didn't offer them a great deal. Race 2, a whole lot more. Checkered flag is out. It's victory for Vard Slice and Bas Schouten. Confirmation with Bob Herber in second, Edward Graals ahead of brother Roger, third and fourth, but Vard Slice winning with Bas Schouten. A good end to what looked like it might have been a disappointing weekend for the BMW drivers. Set myself a goal for the race, says Vard Slice, and that was to win it for the team because they've worked so hard this weekend. And to cheer Bas up a bit because he didn't get a race on Saturday. So I think we've both got good pace, and hopefully we'll be able to keep that up for the next few rounds as well. Well, the duo now lie third in the standings, just 1 point behind Bob Herber, 2 different race weekends, 2 different cars, and the points leader Roger Graals, who finished off the podium in race 2 here. An epic battle for 5th place in the Supersport 1 class. Erik van der Munkhoff's BMW Z4 harassing 5th place man Robert Vandenberg in the BMW 1 Series. closest class rival Dennis Heuveling's Seat is a long way behind, allowing Van der Munkhoff free rein to attack Van den Berg wherever he can find the opportunity. Two very different BMWs with two very different sets of handling characteristics. Van der Munkhoff getting his nose in front. Van den Berg keen not to allow him the upper hand though. The 1 Series driver back up the inside at the hairpin and retaking 5th. The Red Bull Ring may not be the world's most exciting Grand Prix track, but with the number of corners and heavy braking areas and the long straights that precede them, it's the perfect playground for the cars of the Supercar Challenge powered by Hankook. Robert Van den Berg and Erik van der Munkhoff's battle rages lap after lap, and very much the case all the way down the order. Everybody thoroughly enjoying the championship's first visit to Austria. Van der Munkhoff again on the hunt here, and the long downhill left-handers trying to pile the pressure on Van den Berg, and it's the exit here that is so important, keeping your line and not allowing yourself, as Van den Berg has, to be eased too far to the right into the double right-handers that end the lap, because if you do, you will end up making a mistake onto the finishing straight. And here comes Erik van der Munkhoff to try and capitalise. Van den Berg in two minds as to whether to try and repass the Porsche that got by them, and Van der Munkhoff with the momentum along the straight. More Porsches going by. Van der Munkhoff keeping his concentration and retaking 5th position. A long way behind them, Dennis Heuveling a lonely 7th until this high-speed moment. Gets on the grass under braking, and there's no stopping the car before it makes a firm impact with the barriers. Fortunately, he's unharmed. But when you see it again, you can see just how high the speeds are in Austria when it all goes wrong. And into the barriers he goes. Race over for Dennis Heuveling. Last year, E2P Racing won the Super GT title with Costa Canaroglu and Oliver Campos Hull in their Mosler MT900R. This year, Canaroglu in the Ginetta G50 GT4 in Super Sport 1. He takes the lead of the class after the pit stops and heads to victory, much to the delight of the team. Not the fastest car in the class, but a good restart and a good second race for Costa Canaroglu means that he claims victory from Priscilla Spellman and Danny Kroos, with Dennis de Borst and Martin de Klein in 3rd in their Seat. So a very happy Costa Canaroglu winning race 2 in Supersport 1 despite what his rivals think is the wrong kind of car.
Well, and he's right. He's right. It's suitable for half of the track because it doesn't have a lot of power. So there's so much uphill here that we sort of stay behind. But it's very nimble in the corners. So going downhill, we sort of make up the time. So it's it's balanced at the end of the day.
He might not have the outright fastest car, but he's got consistency on his side. Costa Canaroglu, the championship leader after 4 races, from Priscilla Spellman and Danny Kroos. Supersport 2 had a similar look to race 1. Ollie Taylor in the BMW versus Seat driver Michael Smith, and a similar outcome. Taylor once more triumphing over his rival. Rotten luck for sport class driver Harold Visselink. His BMW Silhouette breaks something at the rear end at the start of the formation lap. His race is over before it's even got underway. Once the race does start, the lead again falls to the Trax Racing Peugeot RCZ until the penultimate lap as they are cruising, trying to make it to the checkered flag. Everything going well until the last lap, says Bart van den Broek. We had a 10 or 15 second lead, but then we had a fuel pickup problem. And then, of course, it's over. Well, not over. We made it to the end, but we lost the lead in the penultimate corner of the race. So that was a tough pill to swallow. Luckily, though, the race wasn't another lap longer, or we'd have stopped out on the track. That's all part of racing. With the Peugeot out of it, Alpha drivers Sandra van der Slot and John van der Voort claimed victory in the second race of the weekend.
Het ging redelijk goed. De tijden die van mij gingen.
Good race, said John. I had a better pace than yesterday, so we're keeping improving ourselves. Well, at least I am. Sandra's already very quick. Pit stop went well, not good enough to end up in front of the Peugeot, but luckily for us they ended up with mechanical problems, so we moved into the lead, thanks to her, of course. So confirmation, Chris Vogt and Bart Vandenbroek still the championship leaders, 30 points ahead of John van der Voort and Sandra van der Slot. And that is it from Zeltweg in Austria. Join us next time out. Round 3 is at the awesome Spa-Francorchamps in the Belgian Ardennes in mid-June. We'll see you then. Bye for now. This programme is powered by Hankook Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Valero Race and Rally Base Layers, and Magla. Create your own digital magazine.